On target.
So I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and I thank you for joining us once again.
Join the conversation.
I looked at it on Facebook and I read the speech and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach, because when he makes those suggestions, he is in a sense misleading the population here.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869-669-7312. That's 869-669-7312 or 917-460-2187. That's 917-460-2187. On target here on 2020 Vision Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On target. Be a part of it. On target.
So I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and I thank you for joining us once again.
Join the conversation.
I looked at it on Facebook and I read the speech and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach, because when he makes those suggestions, he is in a sense misleading the population here.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869-669-7312. That's 869-669-7312 or 917-460-2187. That's 917-460-2187. On target here on 2020 Vision Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On target. Be a part of it.
Let us put our hands together for Pupa Wheeler.
Suicide bomber, bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar, roar, boy, roar for me. Anything you want, you go get, boy. I'm mixing up the soca with some Hindi and some rumba, chutney and lavandera. ID no necessary, boy. Whisker lips a mercenary. Bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar, roar, boy, roar for me. Maintain your impulso, Toro zombie and beater. Take it away. local fans decreasing. Why? By the numbers they keep dropping. Nobody don't shout no more like they used to shout before. Why? These grunting fans they crumbling about promise songs. Fail on delivering. Start song and can't finish it. It's standard English, singing stupidness, nonsense. Why don't you sing a song and dance again? Tell me what happened to me fair share when the money disappear. Ooh yeah, boy. Stuart Tiffin question here. Bringing them to shout for me. I wanted to roll, boy, roll for me. I will be rocking down the complex. Yes, if they don't throw me king, boy, I do me like the doctor. Placing their campus suicide bomber. Bringing them to shout for me. I wanted to roll, boy, roll for me. I'm gonna be mashing up the complex. Yes, if they don't throw me king, boy, I do it like the doctor. Placing their campus suicide bomber. Boy, bringing them to shout for me. I wanted to roll, boy, roll for me. Anything you want, you go get, boy. I'm mixing up the soca with some Hindi and some rumba, chutney and lavandera. I didn't know necessary. Boy, we got lips of mercenary. Bringing them to shout for me. I wanted to roll, boy, roll for me. Maintain impulso, todo zombie and Peter. Boy, take it away. Chartering airlines. See preacher, see taxi. Bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar, boy, roar for me. You don't know. You got to spend big money if you wanna win monarchy. I go got the diaspora. 420 in my corner, boy. Share the life, boy. Press like, subscribe, sharing. All here the diaspora's king. Your king go be knocking down your airport, knocking down hospital walls. Boy, training geothermal. Let the Jewish people sing the song. These Hebrew boys don't understand. Begging them to shout for me. I want to roll, boy, roll for me. I'll be rocking down the complex. Yes, if they don't throw me king, do it like the doctor, placing the campus suicide bomber. Bringing them to shout for me. I wanted to roll, boy, roll for me. Anything you want, you go get. Yes, I'm mixing up the soca with some Hindi and some rumba, chutney and lavandera. I didn't know necessary. Please got lips of mercenary. Boy, bring me them to shout for me. I wanted to roll, boy, roll for me. Maintain el impulso, todo zombie and mira. Kick the momentum. Everybody is welcome. Thank you.
Poopa Wheeler.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are strictly those of the participants and do not represent those of 2020visionradio.com or its advertisers.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of On Target. And usual on a Saturday afternoon, I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and today in studio with me, my co-host, Hensley Henop Daniel, from out there in Cox Village originally, but now lives in Prospect for the last 1,000 years. And let me say that I want to wish all a blessed Saturday today. And the weather is easing up quite a bit here on Nevis. It had a really rough time for the last few days. If you're a mariner, boat owner, fisherman, you had it a bit tough and rough and sleepless, but the weather has now passed us mostly. It's just overcast. The seas have diminished from 5 to 7 feet to about maybe 2 to 3 feet, and so it's going in the right direction. Let me say good afternoon to all those who have joined the conversation on Twitch, YouTube, FM, or on Facebook. Good afternoon to each and every one of you. And first up today on the board, again, 4th week in a row, Jetty Taylor, my man from Chicago town. Congratulations, Jetty.
He's not cold up there?
His fingers are not cold. Because he's getting that button quick to come in first 4 times in a row. And followed very, very, very closely by my good friend from St. Kitts and number 1 fan on St. Kitts, Dolgia Doll Penny's in the house. And followed by that warrior from St. James, Gigi Williams Skeet is in the house, 3rd place. And Oral Joseph, my man from up there in New York City. I think he's in New York City.
Oral Jeffords.
No, Oral Joseph.
Oh, Joseph Beakey, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's in New York, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then that lovely lady, Arlene Jeffers Stanford.
Yes,
Fountain warrior. And up there in our Alexandria Hospital, I think she's home today. Nurse Dion Flanders is in the house. How are you, nurse? I still ain't get it right. I still don't know what color your vehicle is. That's all right. And listening, my good...
Might be taxi service. No, you could get Uber.
All right. And then, of course, we have August Washington is in the house. Good afternoon, August. Always present, always on time. Thank you for your continued, what do you call it now? Presence. And then right up next to him is Ingrid Daniel Farrell, that fair lady from up there in Virginia State. Virginia.
Brown Hill Original
Brown Hillian, now residing in Virginia. And down there in St. Thomas, USVI, delicious.
Oh, that Warhorse from Newcastle.
Nicholas Brown is in the house.
Yes.
And then the transplanted division, Annette Morton.
Transplanted, and it would not like you to say that.
Well, most of us,
she's fully planted.
Most of us would transit to the States when we were younger.
Yes.
And decided to reverse that trend and go when she's older.
Yes.
And so
it works both ways.
And then I'm only pulling your leg, mine. Okay.
You see where you're going now?
And the dancing queen, Olivia David, is in the house. Good afternoon, Olivia. Hope you're doing well. And then over there in St. James, Gemini, the Queen, Nisbet, over there.
But she's ducking the cold too.
She's ducking the cold, boy. Everybody running from the cold weather there. All right. Who else we have? We have Joseph Brooks. I said that already? Did I say that? No. Joseph Brooks. And Joseph Brooks is saying, good day on target, just checking in from Bronx, New York. How is the Bronx? He's cold? I don't know. My brother lives in the Bronx, but I don't know if it's cold. He stopped talking about it. And Cecile Hobson. Did I say that? No, I didn't. Cecile Hobson, good afternoon to you.
That warrior from Cotton Ground.
Okay. And who else we have? We have Violina Ali. I ain't going to say nothing.
Warrior from New York.
Violina Ali, she's saying, roar for me. Okay. Ruby Walters, how are you, my dear? Always a pleasure having you on a Saturday afternoon with us. And Paul Pemberton, a regular now. Thank you for your attendance to class.
Paul from Jessups.
And being, and being on time. And he's saying, good afternoon, all have a roaring Saturday. Wow. Paul is in the mood.
Paul is in the
Wheeler
mood.
has set people in the mood to roar. But we're going to roar for something else.
Okay. VTS Stapleton, good afternoon, my dear. She ain't saying roaring or anything like that. So I guess
Visha is a nurse.
she need to be nurse-like.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's a nurse. Visha.
Okay. And who else we have? We have Jonathan Pace watching from Florida.
Wow.
A lot of us divisions are in Florida. I wonder why.
It's warmer.
It's warmer.
It's warmer.
That's a good reason why. Pearl Francis is in the house. Good day, I'm very late, but have time to dance. I like that. Pearl is always doing the jig. And the best dressed pastor in the world, Deacon Owl Jeffers, in the house.
Yes.
You notice we have not seen the gentleman who moved from Florida to Georgia.
Oh, that fellow, Henry.
Yeah, Henry, you haven't seen either for a while. I hope he's doing well.
Okay.
Who else we have? We have Evan Jeffers up there in the great UK. And she's saying, happy birthday, blessings, Zaza. I don't know who that is. I guess that's a grandchild. Something of the sort. But we have three brother persons today, celebrating today. We have Unico Willett.
Oh, okay.
That's the lovely daughter of El Camino and Sandrine Willett up there in Hamilton Estate. And then, and she's celebrating today, by the way. Celebrating today also, my beautiful friend from St. Kitts, Daldria Dalpenny.
Really? She sent some cake?
Is celebrating today.
You sent some cake for her?
She, if I send cake for her?
Yeah, when they bought because of how special she is, you should have put cake on the ferry.
I think she's in Nevis.
She's in Nevis?
I heard a birdie picked me in my ear.
So she brought cake for you then?
I didn't hear, she didn't reach out to me like that.
Oh, okay.
But that birdie picked me in my ear and told me, Dalgia Dalpenny is in Nevis and she's at Sunshines.
Oh.
I don't want to see drinking killer bees, but I was warned by the caller, make sure you don't give me none of your Hammond. Because she had to lead, she have to lead in prayer, lead in the choir tomorrow.
That might help.
You're not encouraging. You're not helping the situation at all.
It's anything original, less processed. The world now is saying that we must use less processed food. So if the tourism product in Nevis says farm to table and ocean to table, means that you don't stop anywhere, you come straight. So you go in your garden, like long time, my mother sent me in the garden, go bring some potato, some yam, tanya, and I can go straight, and then from there to the pot.
Okay.
So this Hammond has something over all the other things, and we have to be, we need to brand it.
Okay. Moving on quickly. Good afternoon, Chef Jeffers Lewis up there in Texas. Good afternoon to you, my dear. Margaret Taylor is in the house. She says, I am here.
You see here, one of the ladies who got your Hammond from Britain is saying, tell him hello for me because the Hammond was good. You see? So the Hammond has far-reaching...
it's medicinal.
Yeah. And for some people, it's therapeutic.
Okay. You ain't get me locked up, Go ahead.
No, those days are done.
Sydney Stapleton in the house. Want to say good afternoon to my mom, Mabel. And Mabel White from Sydney in Connecticut. Sydney Stapleton is sending
Mabel White.
Good afternoon to Mabel White.
That's Jack's grandmother in Barnscott.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Mabel White.
Mabel White is Jack's grandmother.
So this is...
Yeah.
So this is Jack's uncle?
Yeah.
Sydney Stapleton?
Yes, Stapleton.
All right. I'm now making the connections.
Yes.
Jeff Pemberton is in the house, no relation to Jack. And Bernadette Merchant just signed on.
Oh, she's a warrior from Hanley's Road. She spent years at the medical lab in
my headset has got cockroaches in it or something.
Yes, Bernadette Merchant is one of those NRP warriors of ages. Hardcore NRP supporter living in St. Kitts.
Okay. I'm trying to get this headset right, but it's in and out. Venicia Vernidor Williams.
Oh, that's from Bath.
But that has to be from Bath.
That's Iona Door's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vernicia. I didn't see Iona yet. I wonder what happened to Iona. She must went to the funeral.
Maybe.
Did I say Bernadette Merchant?
Yes, Bernadette Merchant.
All right.
From Hanley's Road.
So we have quite a bit of persons signed on already. But let me finish the birthday greetings. I said Unico Willit up there in Hamilton, and my good friend who is drinking Killer Bees down there at Sunshines. Dull Pennies in the house. Remember, Pastor say you have to lead in church tomorrow. So
that might help.
Take it easy. And then my good friend up there in Pond Hill, she's celebrating on Sunday. You know that lady, Colita Archibald?
Atherton, you mean?
Atherton?
Yes, Evil in Atherton, that warrior from Pond Hill. She should have something up there too, but she would have some of that hammering up there. I'm most certain. She doesn't celebrate without something to do. I know her very well.
All right.
And she's a cook. She might have other things.
And Erwin Evelyn is wishing Dolja Dolpenny a special happy birthday. And from us here at studio, of course, we are going to sing for you, or attempt to sing for you. We screwed up this song on Thursday evening because Carlisle can't sing to save his life.
No, can I?
And so he dragged me down in this, can't sing category Thursday evening. So we have to make it up. I'll make it up to all those persons who suffered through that song on Thursday evening. And all of you who are celebrating today and tomorrow, the rest of the week, I do apologize. We were off cue by a mile on Thursday evening, but we were too ashamed to say so. But I'm not ashamed to apologize. And so I do apologize for that on Thursday. And so me and Hensley going to try. Yes. I'm going to start, he's going to jump in because he can't sing neither.
No. The Lord gives us different things.
All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And as usual from us in the studio, may you live to 101 and us 101 minus a day so we don't have to see you go. May God continue to bless you with good health, strength, and of course, wealth.
Yeah, just let me say, Kel, after the birthday celebrations, both of us were at the funeral for Toulouse's mother, Miss Weeks, Miss Gerald. We want to offer, again, condolences to the family. And then tomorrow, there is the funeral for the late Jacqueline Hull Williams at Brown Pasture. And I just want to extend condolences to her mother, Dolores D., and her aunt Janet, and the whole of the extended family, the Hull family, and by extension, the entire people of Upper St. John's in Brown Pasture in particular. But more importantly, Kelly, I think Nevis has lost a very dedicated and committed teacher. They don't come like that very often. And so may her soul find eternal rest.
All right. And let me say good afternoon to a few other persons. Farrell saying my son Adonis's birthday. Adonis Rivers' birthday.
Oh, yes.
It's today. He was in church today. He was at the service.
He was at the funeral, yes. I left him there, yes.
Yeah, Winston Isles. Dr. Daly and Mr. Daniel, good afternoon. Winston Isles over there in Jamaica, I suppose?
Yeah, rotted.
How you there, brother?
Bakhoon,
the great Bakhoon.
Come play some football, man. Spice up the thing from days ago.
No.
Can't be told now.
No.
But if you know a thing, you know a thing.
Stay in your lane.
No, but at least he could help coach then.
All right. Pastor Turner is saying, Pastor Turner is sending birthday greetings to my little one in St. Martin, Zaza. Okay, that's I made the connection now.
What's he grand?
She is the daughter of Lisa Descent.
Okay.
All right. So Pastor Turner, he scored one.
Okay.
All right. Happy birthday, Zaza, coming from your little dad here on Nevis, Pastor Turner.
Pass is still making runs.
I think this is Pastor Junior.
He's still making runs.
Still making runs.
So he's in the wicket.
Yeah. All right. All right. We off to go. We have a lot to talk about. Now, I had a very, very interesting week, and one of those, just yesterday, I was in the High Court listening to a sentencing hearing for one gentleman, a young fellow named Deshaun Liebert. And he's a confessed burglar. Burglar. Yeah, burglar, right? Burglar. What the hell am I talking about? He's a confessed burglar. And I was listening to this sentencing hearing with great interest because I've never been to one in the first instance. I don't know if this is the normal.
I've been to a number of them.
Normal course of action. But apparently this is not his first go-around. He's been...
Magistrate court or
High court.
High court.
All right? And so this is not his first go-around. But I was impressed, truly impressed, with the way the sentencing was being conducted. Like I said, I've never been one, so I don't know if this is the normal. But if it is the normal throughout the federation or throughout the region, it is something to be admired. All right? And what I listened to was the judge, and we all know the judge, our resident judge, Thompson, taking great pains to try to get to a balance of how much time should this young man serve. Not based on any extenuating circumstances, like I got dropped on my head as a child and I didn't get enough breast milk or whatever, nothing like that. But more to the point where
restitution.
He was trying to figure out what course of action will this young man engage himself in during the time of imprisonment and after imprisonment. You know, I found it very refreshing because we tend to have this dogma here that once you offend and you're convicted, lock them up and throw away the key and then deal with the consequences of what happens when they're released without any rehabilitation.
Oh, no, but the OECS has been developing over the last 15 years or so new sentencing guidelines. And part of there was a major project. I did some work with it earlier on with the Judicial Reform Project, where it is asking the judges to look a little more at what is it, how can you help them after the sentencing? And sort of engage your mind in terms of, these sentences will do what for him? So I think that is the kind
Along the same lines,
where you, long time ago, who can hear feel? That era has not helped you because what happens? You send somebody to prison on that basis. 5 years after, there's nothing for him.
They haven't learned anything.
They learn anything. So I think what the judge is seeking to do is to determine, before I sentence you, let me see if down there in the prison, how it can help you. Whether we have rehabilitation programs, whether we have pre-sentencing and also pre-release programs. I think that those are some of the issues which the OECS Judicial Reform, Legal and Judicial Reform Services were having.
Because it'd be much easier, rather than going to this long drawn-out sentencing procedure. It'd be so much easier just say, listen, 5 years. Whatever happened to you, happened to you.
And to hell with you.
To hell with you.
That kind of thing.
You know, but he wanted to hear from the mother, who was present in court. The stepfather, who was not present, but who probably will be present. And he wanted to hear from anybody else, including the prisoner commission.
Commissioner of Prisons. But then also, when I was at the Department of Social Services, you would get what you call a social inquiry report. So the judge will ask you to, the judge or sometimes the magistrate in a number of occasions would ask you to do a social inquiry report to locate for us what are the challenges this fellow had. What are some of the things which would have predisposed him to do this? And generally, so you have a long discussion with the parents, of course, largely the mother. You can't find the father sometimes, and so you find the mother bears her soul to you, tell you how much she tried. You go to the teachers to say, well, what kind of fellow this was in school. So arguably, Kel, the process might be a little longer, but it's a sensible thing to do.
It's a sensible thing. I was really
I've been to a number of them like that because the judge would say, just as you were saying earlier, based on the thing, this is a 10-year. And then you say, let me hear from the social services department. And so we'd get our team to go and check and so on. Sometimes reform helps some people, but we didn't have the kind of backup, which I think they have now, where they can do, I think they now have something you can do counseling even when you're in prison. and you can. There is, as you know, there is some skills training and so available for when you come out, because if you look, I think what the judge is trying to avoid, and one of the overall objects of the program was to avoid recidivism. Because if you look at the prison, Kelly, you would see
the repeat offenders.
Yeah,
repeat
70%
offenders.
of the people down there are down there in the second and third trip. So you're trying to see how you could help this fellow when he comes back out, not to go back. And one of the ways is to get him, social skills are one, how to get along with people, communicate and so. And then also a technical skill, so that at least
He can support himself.
Yeah, because you come out.
And nobody want to hire you.
Well, I have had that trouble. Nobody want to hire you, and fellas say, "Boy, in prison, I show me 3 square meals." So they just do something to get back in there, and then.
Or not do something to get back in, but do something to support themselves.
To do something to support themselves. Because a man would read your place and so on, and rob a supermarket.
Because I know in some states, I think New York is one of them, they are halfway homes.
Right.
Where persons who are newly released can find residence until they can get on their feet.
And something which we tried to do here, but the society was moving. I was in Israel some years ago, and what they have, Kelly, is a pre-release training program. So you go in prison, you're spending 5 years. Instead of saying, well, all right, 2029 you come out. What they do is consistently, they have a pre-release training program. Where are you likely to fit in? And interestingly enough, for young offenders like this fellow here, within the last year of imprisonment, they would let them out for a weekend. So you spend a weekend with your auntie, family members, spend a weekend with some of your good friends, just to practice.
Yeah.
So that when you come back out,
you fit in.
Those are some of the imaginative things I think.
I want to hear from the audience today. I want to hear from those on Facebook or those who are listening. What do you think about this idea of prisoner rehabilitation, or you just want to lock them up and throw the key? Penalty is penalty. There are two school of thoughts, of course. We have persons out there, especially victims of crime.
Yes.
Who want to hear nothing about rehabilitation because they're still emotionally distraught by what happened to them. And believe me, my house has been broken in when we lived in New York. Right here in Nevis, my house was broken into years ago. And it's a disgusting feeling that somebody actually went into your house, touched your stuff, violated, and take away your stuff without any consideration for how you feel about your stuff. That's why I don't have any gold on me anymore. I don't have gold. I have one chain I keep on, but all my other gold pieces were stolen. And I say, I ain't replacing them. So there are people out there who just want to get their closure by saying he gone prison.
That's it.
And I don't care.
Well, I was talking to someone a few days ago, and they said, Daniel, this person? I say, yeah, I knew him as a juvenile. He back out, and people buying deadbolt because they want to be secure themselves. And this is what has happened to him. He had a history, but really nothing has reached him. I have a good friend who has a business, and every now and then she wants somebody to work. She would call me, Hensley, I need somebody to work, but please, no prisoners. I say, only them I have, because only them need rehabilitation.
But you see, the problem with that is that there hasn't been the kind of support service
to drive them.
That
is what this new approach.
Because if you treat a man like a pariah,
come on,
he's gonna act like a pariah.
He's a human being.
All right. So nobody on Facebook is responding. So I guess
people cuss me. I get a lot of abuse. Really, I remember helping to find a job for a young fella. The young fella is right now very, very, very doing very, very well. The judge had given him 5 years in prison at age 14.
Wow. That is rough.
Rough. And I remember having to go to the appeals court to talk with Dennis Byron, the Chief Justice. And I remember saying to Dennis Byron, very understanding of the situation, despite the fact that he was the Chief Justice and so on. And of course, Kel, when that's not your situation, you don't have to care. But Dennis Byron, very, very keen on finding a way. And I said to him, Your Worship, when you were 11, you were in school. this fella here at 11 was sleeping on the street. So how do you expect that he is going to become the same thing? And then when I checked for the school records, because it's a very detailed thing, you go to school, Kel, up to the high school, Charlton Secondary, the fella never went. When he didn't go, the teachers were happy. So nobody look for he. You go in the class, you know.
You just fall through the cracks.
You go in the class and you say, oh, them today not here today, good. We're gonna have peace. At least we could have a good class today. The man is in the bags gambling. And what you think? He clearly he's going to end up in criminal. And so I said to the judge, do you punish him for all of these with 5 years? And this is his first offense at age 14? And the judge said, well, you know.
Sentencing guidelines.
And that was more than 20 years ago. And so I am happy that we are moving in a more restitutive way. But Kel, you know what is so striking about this? Is this not a Christian society?
But don't even bring up that.
No, where you say blessed are so and so, and that you must you must have compassion for those who are in trouble and so on. The most difficult people I have had to deal with are the big church people. They're not moving nowhere near helping these young offenders.
Let's read some of the comments that has come in. Chef Jefferson Lewis, she's saying, I believe in rehabilitation. If we don't attempt rehab, then the prison system doesn't serve much purpose.
Right.
Violent offenders should definitely have longer term sentences, though. Joseph Brooks is saying, Dr. Daly, the reform must start in the prison itself. There's a need to separate the hardcore.
Yes.
There's a need to separate the hardcore criminals from the first offenders in particular. Jam Forbes, I'm with you, Daly. People do things for different reasons. Sometimes people might be crying out for help and for someone to believe in them. Okay, really, really sound comments.
Very, very good, especially that last one.
Yes, very
because
sound.
I don't know, I mean, we have all been teachers.
Well, we have one more, Ingrid Daniel Farrish is saying, I say be lenient for the first offenders and try educating and rehabbing them.
Right.
Repeat offenders, no leniency.
Right.
All right. You see, that's a caveat, because if you were getting rehab and you reoffend,
right,
I could understand no leniency.
Right.
But if you hadn't had the benefit of rehab,
right,
and you reoffend,
right,
you still have to be cautious about that. But before we get too long in the tooth, you got a call coming in. Let's take this call. Good afternoon, you're on target. Hello.
Hey, Daly and Daniel, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is Chevy Chiverton.
Yeah, you don't have to, we know who you are, believe me. You got a voice that can't be hidden.
Don't stop the job.
I like that.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Listen,
He worked in England.
I was hoping that they got this kind of program, you know, because when I came from England, I work as a young offenders in England for like 10 years. I'm a qualified counselor, very, very qualified.
Okay.
Plus, the experience. And what Daniel was saying there about getting, like at the end of close to the end of their time, to send them to an aunt, or if the parents, we assess the parents before. If the parents okay, we take them there for a weekend. We don't just send them, we take them.
Okay.
You know? And they find a way back.
Wonderful.
And
how successful was it?
After a few weeks, they could go on their own.
Okay.
You know, when you realize that they're okay. Because they are young offenders, they in a secure unit. They basically lock up have to do what I say.
Right.
Or anyone the workers say or whatever. If they want to go toilet, they got to ask.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the program, and actually, what I'm saying, when I came back here from England, there was no program that I know of because I work on community affairs for 2 years. But I used to go to the prison in St. Kitts by Mr. Connor. Call Mr. Connor. Connor, I want to come down and do some counseling with the kids. And up to now, all these years ago, some of those kids, they're big men now, they don't still call me when they get anxious.
Okay.
I'm just saying this to say that the program like that is so important, you know, that they need to do a lot of work on it, get it going. Let people know that it's there. You understand?
But let me ask you this, Chevy.
Yeah.
Would you be up to volunteering again?
Anytime.
Okay.
That's my thing.
All right.
Yeah, man, that's my thing. I did it in Nevis, up the prison farm, all Libert and all them up there, you know me, and Connor them in St. Kitts. I just take it on my own when I work community affairs because I brought a lot of programs down. I still got this program. Okay. I brought a lot of programs down from England.
Okay.
That I used to use up there. But you assist them to show them how to live life programs. Who offend. All right, you got programs that could show them ways of when they get angry or whatever, anger management, how to deal with it, things like that. I got all these programs here.
Okay. I have your phone number, so I might be reaching out to you very, very soon. Sooner than you think.
Anytime. Don't let me make a calypso on it.
I wouldn't want that for sure. Thank you, Chevy. All right.
Nice program.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. And the funny thing is, in my notes I have here, and I'm going to read exactly what I wrote, so you don't think I'm making this stuff up. And I wrote in quote, I'm thinking seriously about starting my own program at the prison farm here on Nevis, Rush, to begin the process of readying these young men to return to society.
Right.
Counseling, apprenticeships,
yes,
civics, classes, and these are for most of the low risk, of course, prisoners.
Yes.
All right, so I'm really thinking of getting a template done. Danny, will help.
Yes.
He's a former social worker. We got Chevy, who also worked specifically in advising, and myself, educator. I think we can get a few more people to form a core group that we can really get a proposal done to submit for approval.
Yeah, and you know something else? What I've been looking at over the years is that the situation of crime in the Caribbean is serious, and this is on one side. This is rehabilitation. A lot of money is spent on the policing side. A lot of money. Millions is spent on the policing side.
Yeah.
We need to spend some on the rehabilitation side. So for one of the things we do, for instance, you have a young fella. It's so easy to look at all of his negatives. When you do an audit of the fellow's skills. Some of these fellows, they tell you a lot of them are into music. They like interest in music, sports, and all the carpentry, joinery, and all these kinds of things. So when you do an audit of his skills, you get a balance, and you could work with what are the positive ones. But it's also from a point of view of public policy, we need to redirect the money to rehabilitation, because I think...
they're building a brand new prison, or started to build a brand new prison, $1 billion prison. I would like to see a $500,000 program to help keep that prison empty.
Exactly. $100,000 pumped given to a group to deal with rehabilitation can have far greater impact. When I was the minister, you know what I used to do? Suti and I, we used to go to the prison. There were about 30 prisoners down there from Nevis, average 30, 35. You know what we will do? We will take the what's his name? I think he's back there as the director of prison now, Franklin Weatherman Darset. Very, very helpful, very, very understanding man. Very concerned about fellows keep coming. His word was, man, them keep coming up here. Anything I could do to get them, because he was dealing with the fact that all these return offenders. So I'll take their number, I'll take their schedule for when they return. And by the time they return, Suti and I and the Pemberton at the ministry, we could find a way to ease two of them in there to work and so on, and we would talk to them and so on and that kind of thing. Because you just can't have, girl, I think people forget. Suppose this fella here, like who you were talking about, the judge was talking to.
Deshaun Liebel.
Suppose he's 25 years. Let's say he's 25 years.
Comes up when he's 35.
35 is
No
still,
skill.
no skill, nothing.
No training.
And he's still young and strong and robust.
Guess what you can do?
Well, he went for burglary this time. He might kill 2 people.
Okay.
Because he's hardened now, you know.
Okay, we're moving on.
Yes.
August Washington is commenting. He says, I believe that they should be prepared as much as possible to face the outside after imprisonment. Introduce them to a trade. What do they see themselves skilled at doing? What do they like doing? Something, that's good.
Remarkable. You see, people have ideas.
Yeah. So what's next? I want to show you a couple of slides before we start the comment. And I want you to follow me because I'm going to build up to something. All right? This is the first slide. This is Gallows Bay looking south from Charlestown, all right? Looking south. Try to remember where the sand is and where the tree line is, okay? Keep a mind on that. Then I'm going to show you another one. I'm going to show you from the northern end looking south. Let me see. Yeah. Northern end. From the southern end looking south, this one. Okay? Again, keep a track of the where the tree line is and the sand is. This is what pertained when I was growing up.
Yes.
Right? What has happened over the years is that we have lost, acres of land. There's a call coming. Let's take the call. Good afternoon, you're on target. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. I can't even hear you.
Well, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very clearly.
I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm listening here, right? There's a lot I can say about that kind of thing, but I want to sing praises to Hensley Daniel. I remember years ago, Hensley Daniel was fighting for what his name again? This balling man, Byron. I see him sit down in front of Byron for hours, begging Byron not to send us him to jail. I think gonna come out worse than he went in before. And kind of thing. And he sit down there and he pray and I think so Byron and send him to jail. And I know he, from then on, I wasn't in court for a lot of the rest, but I know he's been in the many other times with many others.
Okay.
So, when you talk about somebody that knows the final thing, I think Kensley is the man.
Wonderful.
And when you're talking about the rehabilitation and all of that, I don't even think that when somebody gets to a certain age, you can rehabilitate the thing. That has to start from small, primary school, preschool, and you inculcate what you want into them. So when they grow up, the Bible says to teach them what they're supposed to know, so that when they go old, they don't depart from it.
Right.
All right.
Okay, thanks, man.
Thanks.
Well, that's a ringing endorsement of Hensley. That the work he did. Everybody appreciate the work he did, Hensley. And so kudos to you.
Thanks.
So I was showing you the present picture on your screen is what Gallows Bay used to look like.
Yeah, when we were going to school.
When we were growing up.
Yes. So when we go
And
school,
I'm sure those persons from Bath
In the 70s
and Lost Street, not Lost Street, Prince William Street,
Yes.
Boggs area will appreciate the fact that we have lost quite a bit of Gallows Bay over the years. Land where we used to play cricket is now under the sea,
Yes.
if you can believe that. And so what you see there is the northern end, the southern end of Bath. Those are boats from fishers who live in Bath.
Okay.
All right? So we are at looking north from big, what you call Big Pond.
Big pond.
Right? So I'm sure somewhere there is Daryl Doe boat and them Romney's boat or wherever else. But the fact remains is we have lost quite a bit in terms of shoreward erosion. And the reason I bring this up, because we just had some serious storm, a serious, what you call it, let's say a trough. But believe me, I was nervous as hell because I have my boat anchored at Gallows Bay, and I could not get it in time out of the weather. And so all Monday night, I'm tossing and turning, wondering whether if I'm going to wake up in the morning and find a boat.
Yeah.
There's no safe harbor. The rain was coming out the south, the swells were coming out the west, and so you were sandwiched in at Gallows Bay, and there is no safe harbor for any of the boats out there. And so I said, you know what? It's time that we did something about it. Why is it that we are not investing in coastal protection to prevent erosion? Maybe it's very small. And especially in areas prone to erosion like Gallows Bay, Pinnies, and those places. What is the long-term plan to deal with erosion? Prince William Street right now is ending in the sea as a boy growing up. It never did before. All those coconut trees that lined Gallows Bay that died from this lethal yellowing disease, never replanted, but more so those trees helped to hold the soil. What we have now are manganiel and kusha, which nobody wants to touch, of course, for good reason. Nobody's maintaining the lands anymore. And so it's just a free-for-all in terms of the wave action.
Let me ask you something, Kel. As somebody who is familiar, you grew up just 2 yards away. What would have been the impact had we put down the fisheries complex?
Well, the whole revetment work will be protecting a lot of Gallows Bay.
Okay.
All right. So what you have on your screen right now is on Lake Michigan in the great United States. All right. And it's a concept that we have spoken about. And the first person I saw who did an artistic rendition of what he perceives should be the kind of revetment work you needed to protect Gallows Bay, create a marina, and prevent more erosion at Gallows Bay was Brother Anslin, Captain Arthur Anslin.
Okay.
I saw a rendition of him, of his vision decades ago. It looks very similar to what you see on the screen. But if those of you are familiar with Gallows Bay and Fort Charles, this looks very similar. Because at the edge here, at the edge where you see comes out from the headland, that could be the tip of Fort Charles.
Right.
Running west, heading north, and back in to the shore.
To Gallows Bay, yeah.
And so you have a protected area that mariners like myself and others can find protection. The traveling boaters out there, the yachts and the cruisers and all those things, who are always looking for safe harbor, shelter, and an easy way to exit from their boats to land without having to go into the dinghies. You know, and I've been to marinas in St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Antigua, and this is nothing new. Offering services to mariners is a worldwide business. It's a worldwide business. I recall people that boats from Nevis, especially passenger ferries and cargo boats, When bad weather is coming, like a hurricane is coming, you know where they go? St. Lucia or St. Vincent to wait it out.
Yes.
Because it was a safe harbor.
Sheltered.
And you're going to pay.
Of course.
You understand? And so, NASPA, Nevis ENC Ports Authority, needs to get on the ball.
But what are they doing in terms of imagination, Ken?
They need to get on the ball. They need to have some way of saying, listen, how do we expand our footprint? How do we make a noticeable contribution to the development of Nevis, to the development of our marine resources, to protection of our shorelines, to the safety and security of our country? Mm-hmm. Why is it that you have a board that cannot come up with anything?
But what are they for?
A simple thing like marine refueling. Boats in Nevis have to go to Sinkers to get fuel. How is this? How does this make sense to any board, any chairman of any board that has resources that can go to the bank because they're statutory and say, listen, I want to borrow $1 million. They can go to approach any lending institution and say, I want to borrow $2 million because this is how we're going to make it back.
Right.
And I don't understand. But you see, the boards are only reflections of the government.
Yes.
They appoint people to the boards that have no vision, no idea about marine services, no idea what mariners want. And so they sit there, suck up the oxygen, get paid, and go home happily as if they have done something good.
But let me
it's about time we move away from this nonsense of filling boards with political cronies who can deliver nothing.
But let me ask you something. You know Tortola. How many marine?
A lot. I don't know. I can't even count them.
And how many we have in St. Martin? Those places are the same size as Nevis. I remember when we were dealing with the one marina here. Some people in planning were saying they're not sure. So I tell them, well, have you looked at what is done in St. Martin, in Anguilla? We must be the only place without us a marina. A functioning marina. You know, Kel, I saw something you were talking about I'm looking at the economics of it. Mm-hmm. I was at a marina in the BVI. Oh my goodness. On a Saturday morning, you'd want to see the number of drinks, food and everything, with suppliers saying, boy, I have to do this for the yachts. You have about 5 yachts there. And these guys are filling up.
They're called chandleries. Chandleries.
Chandleries.
Chandelier?
Yes.
They are the ones to supply from shore to ship. They supply water, food, fuel, whatever you want.
Yeah, and the guys were lined up. And I'm saying to myself, but this can't be done in Nevis?
Let me tell you something, right? What people don't realize, there's a whole population of people out there who travel, that do nothing but travel the world on their boats.
Exactly.
They do nothing but travel. They come into Nevis, spend 2-3 days, then they go on down to St. Martin, they go on to Anguilla, Statia, Sabre, back up to Antigua, head south to Guadeloupe. They don't tend to go further than Grenada.
Okay.
Than I should say St. Lucia. Because there is some incidents of piracy, you believe it, coming out of Venezuela.
Yes.
And so mariners tend to stay away from the south a lot. Suriname, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Venezuela, those places down there, mariners tend to avoid.
Right.
So they tend to hang around in the northern Caribbean,
right,
where we are.
And where the water is like, the sea is flat and generally, and you can glide around the islands.
But they want to know. They can pull into a marina and get resupplied.
Of course.
And so I don't understand.
Wasn't that part of the fisheries complex too?
The part of the fisheries complex was that we provide fuel and water.
Okay.
Onshore power, marine services in terms of engine repairs and those kind of things.
Right.
But the greater vision must be, how do we diversify our economy?
Of course.
How do we grow our revenues, recurrent revenue? Because they have not been moving under this government. We are stuck around 130, 125 million per year. We have not grown it.
No.
And so you have to look, how do we look 10 years, 15 years into the future?
Mm-hmm. But the drawings you had here, the sketch showing you what happened in the U.S. It almost looked like you could take that and
transpose it right here.
Right here.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm saying that's why all the time our people keep giving the impression that our people here can't do these things because we don't see anything being done.
I saw a drawing, a computer-generated drawing, but the young guy, the guy, Javon Williams.
Yes.
He's now the director of public works.
Yes.
This guy is just simply brilliant. He can come up with a design to fit Fort Charles into this, to fit the pier into this. He is an engineer.
Right.
And he is talented beyond belief when it comes to design. All right?
So why aren't we using him to help us?
We should be harvesting because he designed highways when he lived in Florida.
Yes.
You know, so we have people here on the ground who can do this kind of work. And it don't have to be done all. If it's one time, I would agree. 2 phases is a development of this scope and this nature.
Yeah, of course.
Right? If you say, listen, we're gonna spend $5 million a year over the next 10 years, that's $50 million. We're gonna get it done. All right? But keep it consistent. The vision must be, how do we execute on a number of fronts, protect the shoreline, protect the environment,
and the economy.
Of course,
drive the economy. Because Kelly, you're talking about what you say call them chandeliers. Chandelier. Now, the whole idea that you could come into Nevis and you can get all of your supplies in. So it means, therefore, that this must be an all-of society where it is the supermarkets and the people who provide these kind of food and drink and so on. I mean, when I looked at the BVI, when I saw the beer truck come, I said, well, where they going with all that beer? The fellas said, boy, when these guys leave here, they're going to make a little round in another 2-3 days and they come back and they empty again because they have, and as you say, they have it's a party of 5 or 6 people too, so they have people with them. So they move around and they're going to eat and drink. So why are we missing this? Sometime on the program last week, you were saying that all these statutory bodies, why don't they combine their efforts and go to a bank and build up their respective units and provide investment and work for people in Nevis?
What I find, there's another picture that the engineer forgot to load, and it was a boardwalk going through the bogs swamp, the wetlands in bogs. Beautiful curving boardwalk that starts here below the Esso tanks, the old Esso tanks, and winds its way all the way up to Bath. And in there, I don't know if persons are familiar, but I grew up in that area, and so I know what's in there. You'd be surprised to know that there are ducks in there.
I've seen ducks in there.
Okay, and there are also egrets, great herons, all kind of fish. Reed beds. It's crabs.
In the bags.
Right there.
Wow.
All right? And so my idea was this: let's build a boardwalk meandering through the bogs so it protects our wetlands. It's open up to visitation. It's open up to income revenue generation. And I'm sure the Hobson's family who owns it and the Wades who owns it will be glad to have some utility to it. And these are the kind of things that we need to stop looking so far out to sea, looking for investors to come. We have people here.
And money in the banks.
Money in the bank here to invest in these kind of
good, sensible projects,
revenue generating things,
yes,
and conservancy of nature, protection of the environment. These are kind of ideas that move me.
That there are few projects which do those two things, because every time you do a project, it damages the environment.
Yeah,
it creates economic opportunity and so on, but it damages the environment. What you're speaking to is unusual. It does the two things. It protects the coastline and creates economic opportunities.
Of course.
This is elementary.
Well, we're still waiting for the boardwalk the receiving in development project the Premier said he has. We're still waiting for that. In the meantime, we just wait because he's looking outside for investors rather than looking within for investors. And so if he was to simply form a public-private corporation, a true public-private corporation, partnership, and get investments from within. And if you get from without, fine.
But Kel, people are more likely to invest in a public-private partnership than in just a public partnership alone.
Because the government controls everything.
Yeah, people are no longer, people have lost confidence in government's ability to manage and deliver their returns on investment. So it behooves the government to find private people with whom to team up so that we can get some action in Nevis. I mean, it must bother us, Kel, that you go to St. Martin, it's the same size as Nevis. You go to the BVI, and you can count the boats.
But 90% of the investments in those countries are private.
But of course.
Anyway, what we have done so far in the first hour is to show the government what is possible when we knock heads together. Right. Rather than trying to isolate us into a corner and then call ball blood that we're not giving you ideas, we're not sharing the love. We spend the first hour of a tour program, giving guidance to the leadership of this country. And so when you guys are criticizing and say, we always bashing the premier, we ain't giving no ideas. You had a whole hour of ideas. Let us see if they're going to take any advantage of what we have just said. All right? They're not known for doing that. So if you're on Facebook or you want to call in and give your ideas to what you believe or what you think about the ideas we just spread about this shoreline protection, marina / wetlands / diversified portfolio. If you want to do that, fine. All right. But we're gonna switch to something else now. We're going to the politics. But before we do that, let me say that Corvin Wilkin sent a note that he is going to sponsor 5 more lunches for the youth, the women's arm, the NRP women's arm. They're having Valentine's Day luncheon. They're at the Red Cross on Chapel Street, starting from 11 o'clock. On the menu, you have pork, chicken, fish, and mutton.
Wow.
Right? You got good food for $30. All right? We know on Thursday evening we had persons donating 51 lunches. Wow. To some who they chose and some who rang in and got. All right? So Kervin has graciously said that he will sponsor 5. And so for this next 2 or 3 minutes, the first 5 persons call will get a free lunch. The first 5, only the first 5. All right? Okay. So it's starting now. If you want a free lunch, call now. 5 minutes. While we're waiting for people to call, let me see here. We're going to do this. All right. We're going to do that. This part here is really upsetting because on your screen is a program that has been rolled out for Culturama 50, rolled up by the government. And basically what they're saying is to celebrate Culturama 50 is a milestone that they are willing to give duty-free concessions on if you're importing or buying these things to make your properties more beautiful, to engage the public in beautifying the entire Nevis. And so, okay, let's take this call. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon, Mr. Daly.
Good afternoon.
I am calling in for free lunch.
Oh, Jesus. Go ahead, Tessa.
Why are you laughing at me?
Because I know you won Thursday evening, too.
It's for Judith Slack. Put it in the name of Judith Slack.
Judith Slack.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you for calling.
You're welcome.
All right. So the first lunch is gone. There are 4 more to go. So we were talking about Culturama. So the Premier, in his wisdom, has said that he and his government, if you are going to bring in these things, windows, fencing, doors, roof material, you are going to get them at a very concessionary rate. And so their program is to beautify homes and villages and communities. And so that's how that goes. All right? Now, the picture below is of the great Cispon.
That might be one.
That was owned by the family, Tyson family, out of Jessops. And the premier, I understand, would have bought it. I have not seen the land transfer, title transfer papers, but I understand the premier bought it some years ago, about 10 years ago. And so it has been in this state ever since. No paint, some of the windows boarded up. Here comes another call. Good afternoon, on target. Good afternoon, on target. Good afternoon.
Mr. Daly, I just wanted to clarify something. I was listening after my call, and I did not win a lunch on Thursday night. I donated 2 lunches in honor of my parents who have their wedding anniversary.
Okay.
So
all right.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank
cool.
you. Bye-bye.
Hello, you on target? You on target? Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good day. May I have a free lunch for Vanessa Allen, please?
Vanessa Allen?
Yes, love.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
All right. Vanessa Allen. Okay. That's 2 going. All right. We got 3 more to go. So.
Culturama.
Oh, let's take this call. Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm trying for a lunch.
What's your name?
Amanda Roberts.
Amanda
Roberts.
Roberts. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amanda Roberts. Okay. Okay. We got 2 more lunches to go. So if you're gonna call, you better make it quick. Tanya, let's go to the call. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Yeah, can I get a lunch for Marilyn Halliday?
Marilyn Halliday.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Marilyn Halliday. All right. Okay, that's it. We got 1 more. Okay, here it goes. Good afternoon, you on target?
Yeah, I'm calling for the lunch.
Go ahead.
Glennis Door.
Glennis, how are you, darling?
I'm all right.
I haven't seen your face in a long time. You're doing well?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay,
I'm not working right now.
All right, wonderful. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right, that's it for the 5 lunches. Thank you all. Judith Slack gets 1, Vanessa Allen, 2, Amanda Roberts, Marilyn Halliday, and Glennis Dorr. All right. Thank you all very much for that. All right, so
these 5 add to the 50 you had on Thursday?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see who this is now. I hope I don't have to break anybody's heart.
Maybe somebody calling.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Govey Butler.
Who's that?
Govey Butler.
Grovey?
Govey.
Yeah.
Spell the first name for me.
Govey Butler.
G-O...
V-Y.
Oh, Govy. Butler.
Yes, Govey Butler.
All right. I will sponsor that one. That's the last one, the 6. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. So that's it for now. 6. I had to put in 1 for myself. I can tell Colvin you got to pay for the 6, eh?
Yeah.
All right.
He caused trouble.
All right.
So you were saying Culturama.
Culturama. So Culturama, the Premier decided to offer this program while he owns, I understand, that building called Seaspawn. All right? And you can see the state that is in. Those brown pieces of plywood you see are boarded up windows. Right? The place has not got a coat of paint. It is not fenced.
So Culturama coming for that?
Well,
it coming good?
Well, the idea is, how is it he's asking persons to invest? How is it he's asking persons to invest in getting their properties up to speed, and he himself, if it's indeed his building,
lead by example?
Lead by example.
You should lead by example. Okay.
No, I always believe in lead by example. And so it is what it is.
No, but culture. You know something? I think I saw a note from someone in one of the chats about in St. Kitts. They are reviewing something about Carnival 24. Something about the program. But I'm saying, Kel, this is February. Culturama 50. Yeah, okay, the paint. So what else is leading us onto Culturama 50? There are two things which I wish to point out, which are critical for Culturama 50. The government has to ensure that it provides water 24/7 and electricity 24/7. Because if you're inviting all these people to come here, and they will come, because it's Culturama 50, well, man leaving home 10 o'clock in the night, to go lime, so you can't take off the water at 10 o'clock. And I hope we don't have the embarrassment we had in 2017 when people were here for Culturama. But water and electricity.
The man said that he has already put out tenders or feelers, and persons should be tendering or sending in tender documents.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Hold on.
I'm going to ask you a question after.
Hold on.
Yes.
He said in his budget address that the government has received 5 tenders.
Yes.
All right? From 5 drillers. From the U.S., from Jamaica, from St. Martin, St. Kitts, Nevis. All right? And that very shortly, they should begin the process of drilling for wells in Descents, in two other places, 3 places. I can't remember all of them.
Right.
And so this is already February. You have March, April, May, June. They got 5 months to get 3 wells dug, to tie them in to the water distribution system, because you just can't dig wells in.
No.
You have to connect them.
Test the water. Okay.
So I don't see how that can be done in time for Culturama. I'm sorry.
Okay. Here the question I want to ask you, Ken. When was the last time?
None.
No. When was the last time you took advice or believed people you didn't trust?
I don't do that.
All right. So when you hear that kind of talk, do you trust it? Do you believe in it? Where is the evidence that it happened before? And all I'm saying is we can make the programs for Culturama. You can release all the songs and everything. The water cannot go off 10 o'clock in the night, because that's when man leaving home to go party. And if we are going to, remember, Culturama is a party for the island, that's what it is, with highlighting the folklore, the dance, the drama, the music, everything. And if this is the case, Kel, you are saying you don't see how it could happen.
I don't see it possible. Don't see it possible. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. I hope they do.
All right.
But this weather here we have gotten, this is the first rain we got. The rain we have gotten this week is the first rain we got since November last year.
Exactly. Substantial.
It has been bone dry. It's the first time that I know of that we've had water rationing in January. It tells you how bad the situation is.
Okay.
Because, the Premier is appealing for persons to conserve. People in Nevis don't waste water.
No, never did.
People in Nevis do not waste water.
Not after all the
Right?
water we bring on we head.
And so
we treat it like gold.
some people still they have to go wee 10 times in the toilet before they flush it. And sometimes people go out in the yard go wee. I like to go in my yard and wee because I like the fresh breeze.
And as a man. But the point is, Kel, it shows the whole the fracture in planning. If you are planning for Culturama 50 in 2024, you must have had these two elements, these two issues here, had to be sorted out long before.
Long before.
I
I don't know why they didn't do it last year for 2023. And so they'll be in a better position to be ready for 2024.
Then you would only have to
knowing fully well that Culturama 50 is a big thing. They're promoting it heavily.
Exactly.
They're giving incentives for persons to beautify their properties. They're on the airwaves. They're on the internet. We're everywhere promoting Culturama 50. Only to know that we are now rationing water in January and we haven't even gotten to the dry season yet.
Okay, the dry season comes on. But Kel, this is the trouble with this disjointed approach and thinking that Nevis people will just go along. The Nevisians have to get serious about these things. You're telling us to come home for Culturama. Kel, by the time you have about 400 rooms or so in Nevis, that's hotel rooms and so. And then you have all the other people are coming to stay with their families and everything. The pressure on the water is going to be
tremendous.
And so, if in January you're rationing water, it stands to reason that
it's worse than yet.
Okay, without the water
I
coming
hear,
and stream.
but here he say, people should consider building cisterns when they're building homes.
When?
Because he has a cistern.
And he pipe it through his house.
And all the houses are built for housing and land. They ain't got no cistern in them.
No.
Right? I didn't hear, maybe he said it, but I missed it. So I don't want to say I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. But it would help if there was a policy to say, listen, if you are interested in building a cistern, right, and planning to approve your design or whatever it is, we will give you concession on whatever material you need to build your cistern.
Yeah.
Or if you want to bring in a water tank,
yes,
we will give you concessions on it. Not only the duties, everything off.
But Kel, that
to save water when you have your rainfall. If you're installing gutters,
right,
we will give you a concession.
But Kel, he's speaking to that, to this whole idea about cisterns and so on, as if a cistern, you just get up and build a cistern. So, but you're speaking to that because behind that suggestion is the failure to provide water. If you were working assiduously to provide the water, you don't have a problem. You don't have a problem because wasn't you who said on one of these programs in the mountains in Nevis there's a huge amount of water underground. There's a huge amount of water underground in Nevis. All we need to do is to tap it. So a government that cannot provide water 24/7 must go home. You see, Kel, when it comes to water, I take a very, very distinct and different view. I am from Cox. I used to go all over the place for water as far as Hullground. And we used to go market shop regularly, Chicken Stone. And I am saying, after all of that, you go home. Well, you're into science. When you turn on your pipe in the morning, I hear a set of noise in the pipe.
It's called ear.
It's called ear. But is it good for the pipe?
Of course not.
Okay. So you're mashing up people's pipe by inability to provide water.
Especially toilet fixtures.
Yeah.
The shut-off valves and to blow out easily.
Yes.
But that's minor.
But the larger question is, you're having people come to Nevis and you're not in a position to provide water 24/7. We're in trouble.
Well, you see, somebody wrote, and I'm going to read what they said, James Richards, the preparation should have started in 2024. No, he said, you can't start, Ingrid Daniel Farrell says, you can't start planning for 2024 in December 2023.
Of course not.
Exactly.
She's right.
Joseph Brooks is saying, look at the length of time water was discovered in Cairn, and up to now, people cannot get any in their homes. It takes time. The lines must go in. All right?
It has to be tested.
All the pumps must go in. It must be tested. The water quality must be assured.
Right.
All right? So you just don't dig a well and connect your pipes. All kind of testing, quality assurances got to be done to make sure persons are getting quality water. Because some water is having what you call heavy metals.
Yes.
Manganese, lead, and those kind of things. So you have to be very careful you don't poison people in the effort to try to help them. All right? Why is Judy Cornelius saying she want ants bite me? Judy, why you want ants bite me? What happened? You were trying to call in and you didn't get a breakfast? You get a lunch. Who else we had? We have, okay, I think that's it.
Yeah, but
James
it's
Richard
good.
is saying, the preparation should have started
Of course.
in 2022.
And Ingrid is saying you can start in December.
For 2024.
23. And I hope people take on board what
The
she
question,
says.
though, is this. What consequences will there be to the government if come July, there is no additional new water into the system and we are in a water rationing schedule for Culturama 50? What consequences must there be?
All right.
What consequences must there be? This is where I want persons who are coming home to visit
Exactly.
understand what we are facing, what you're going to face if there is no new water.
Exactly.
All right? You better walk in some water from New York.
Remember he was asking people if they have water. He used to ask people if you have water in New York. The thing is, Kel, you know how difficult it is for people who live in New York and who used to carry water in Nevis and come home and don't get no water.
I understand though. Joseph Brooks, he's a smart fella. Joseph Brooks saying, I was asking my good friend there why she want ants bite me. But Joseph Brooks says because you go in the yard to wee-wee.
Okay.
Oh, Judy?
Okay.
Girl, you don't know go to the fields. Get up early in the morning or your yard and shoot in the stars.
You know, Kel, the Culturama has to have that kind of effort. When you look at the people who are going to be responsible for executing the Culturama, well, who is there with the from the water and electricity? And then we're going to still have all these water things, right? All these wet fet and so on, all these different fets. So there is, I want to follow on with it from the question from you. What will be the consequences?
Okay. So, Ingrid Daniel Farris said they will find a way to blame NRP. Oh, Lord have mercy.
All I know is that if you can't provide water and electricity 24/7 in Nevis in 2024, you have a song you used to sing before the popular one with Wheeler came out. You should leave the government. That is my view. Any government in Nevis that is sitting down and simply talking about water and can't provide must go home. Very simple.
All right. Jesse Taylor said he can wipe off.
We passed that.
He said he don't want no cold water, so he can wipe off. Jetty, you better bring a barrel of wipes because the weather down here hot in the hell. I'm telling you.
You know?
All right, so the next segment, I had written a piece on Facebook called The Liar. All right, and for the benefit of those persons who are not on Facebook and who would want to hear what I wrote, I'm going to read it to you because it's not very long. But it's called The Liar. All right? And he reads, and I quote, "The Premier came to power on a lie that he would set things right, that he would diversify and grow the economy, and our people would have good paying jobs, cheap energy, better health care, and food security. In reality, the only thing he has grown are the size, frequency, and volume of his lies. One lie told to cover for another. A malignant pathology that is truly obscene. It does not matter how many times he is caught lying. It does not matter what audio and or visual evidence he is confronted with. The lies just keep coming. Small lies, big lies, whoppers. He lies reflexively, as if well rehearsed, a skill that few will ever master. He is so good that colleague ministers in both the NIA and the federal parliament regularly ingest, amplify, and regurgitate them for mass consumption by a population enchanted by how good he sounds. The bastions of truth and the acclaimed guardians of human morality, our churches, evade his lies by pretending not to hear them, by pretending that this devil does not exist, leaving him unchecked and unguarded to continue his obscenity. Invariably, those of us who continue to catalog his lies and to characterize his government as a criminal enterprise built on a foundation of deception, greed, conflicts of interest, amongst other things, in true Orwellian fashion, are defined as the villains, and our truths defined as noise. And so it goes. A population held hostage by lies. Simply incredible.
You know, Kel, I think I saw the post and I responded, but there is a book written by a gentleman. It's called Post-Truth, where it says that what happens nowadays is that people telling lies has become commonplace, and truth and value judgment are not anymore. It is about lies. And Lee McIntyre says we are running a very dangerous society by dealing with lies. The problem with a leader of a country being a liar, Kelly, is this. By the time he finishes with Nevis, the level of deception will increase. People will have, trust will break down in politics. So decent people wanting to go to politics, they're going to put everybody in the same boat and say, all lie, you tell lie. And sometimes in Nevis, you tell people the lies, and then people say, oh, lie, you're the same thing. And and that is most offensive. So what is going to happen, Kelly, is that, you know what they say about the example? It is caught, not taught. So if the leader of a country is telling lies, well, what do you say with grade 4, 5, and 6 children and all the people? And in business, you go to somebody, you tell them, you sit down with people to do business, and they're not telling you the truth because the idea is, well, what you making noise with me for? If the leader tells lie, and you know, you hear what Lee McIntyre says, this amounts to declaring that there is no true way of seeing things. But it does not necessarily mean that all perspectives are equal. The trouble, he says, is that people now are more concerned about liars, are more responsive to lies than the truth. And in a small society like Nevis, how could the leader of the country think that telling people lies is okay? But you just raised the question. Let me ask you the same question, Kel. What is the consequences for all these lies? What will be the consequences for all these lies? You know?
Well, I don't know the consequences because it seems to be so accepted now. We have become a country of acceptance where trust doesn't mean anything anymore.
Trust.
I value trust.
And
you know,
truth.
I don't want to be. I try to hang around people that can elevate me. I can trust them if I turn my back. You know, I said a week ago that I have 3 groups of friends that I meet 3 times a week, and these are my soulmates. These are my friends. These are persons I would trust my life with. You know, and it's good to have that comfort level.
Right.
That buffer to say, listen, I can call Hensley at 10 o'clock in the morning, at 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning. I said, listen, boy, I'm stranded, and he's going to come.
Yeah,
I need to, talk to you about something, and he's going to listen. And he's not going to backtalk me or backstab me. I can call people like Greg Hartman, Gary Griffin, Kevin Huggins, and Brian Carey. These are my friends. Gus Dorr. These are people who I know will be there for me if I'm in a crisis. And so we need to build a bastion, a circle of friends around us that will not be tearing us down at the first opportunity when you turn your back.
Or okay, if you are in business, you're in agriculture, you want somebody who, if you go to them, or if someone comes to you and they say to you, Kel, I want to get into watermelon. I want to plant watermelon. They must trust the advice you give. I mean, if they come, the reason they come to you is that they already think that as a professionally trained person, you can give them advice. Can you imagine misleading them?
No.
And what that does to them by misleading them? And I think the Nevis people need to tell themselves that, look, man, we've gotten enough of this. Enough of this is enough. How is it possible? How is it that, Kel, let me ask you the question, because you follow what he says a lot. When last he told the truth? When last he told the truth?
Okay, I can't answer that. Because
when last he told a lie?
Every day. I want to run something by you, Hensley, because you were almost a beneficiary of this program. And it's a bit comfortable because both parties, NRP and CCM, but the truth is the truth. And we must always face the truth. All right? And this is a post I saw by Marvin Hanley. It's written by a gentleman out of Anguilla called Carl Provenzal. Very provocative writer. But he goes to the core of things that ail our countries in the region. And so he's saying, I've read several of his pieces, and they're quite intuitive, including this one. And these are questions that we must face, all right? And the fairness of it must be examined, all right? I remember, though, that what we have here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis is an inherited program of when they had all white administrators on Nevis and St. Kitts. We had a white governor general, and everybody was white. All the senior administrators were white or mulatto. And so they put things in place to benefit themselves. I'm not certain how much of it has changed, if this is new. But it is interesting that I never thought about it until I read this post and that was distributed by Marvin Hanley. All right? And it writes, I quote, "I find it deeply troubling and fundamentally unfair that government ministers are not required to contribute to the pension scheme. Yet upon serving 2 terms, which amounts to 10 years as elected members, they are entitled to collect lifelong pensions based on their highest salaries earned. It is egregious that individuals who are already receiving substantial monthly salaries, some exceeding $25,000, and our premier with over $30,000 would also be entitled to additional benefits that they are not contributing to. The practice not only seems unjust, but also creates an unnecessary burden on an already strained public finances. At a time when many citizens are struggling to make ends meet, and when public funds could be better allocated to address pressing societal needs, if it is unacceptable for elected officials to receive such generous benefits without proportional contribution. I urge for a reconsideration of this policy and a shift towards a more equitable and responsible approach to pension entitlements for government officials. It is essential that our elected representatives lead by example and demonstrate a genuine commitment to fairness and accountability in their stewardship of public resources. Your opinion?
Yeah, well, two things. One, the salaries of the ministers of government are linked to the public servants, If you look at it,
I'm not asking that question.
No. I'm telling you where they coming from. The salaries are linked to the public service. So permanent secretaries, government ministers get a little bit more money than the permanent secretaries.
I'm still not answering the question.
The other thing is that, and so the senior public servants also, the pensioners, they don't contribute either. The second part of the argument I agree with, that you should contribute to the pension proportionately. So I agree with that you should contribute to the pension proportionately rather than just being the fact that you serve the terms. But
before you get pension, Nevis, as a politician, how many years you have to serve to get pension?
In the parliament, 8 years.
8 years in the parliament. And you get a lifelong pension after working 8 years.
Yeah. And if you are the premier of the country, you get a premier's pension. And if the premier dies, the wife gets the pension.
For life.
For life. But the difference is that for a public servant, you get 10 years for the gratuity, 15 years for pension at 15 years, pension at 50, and 25 years pension and gratuity. So the unfairness is that in the politician's case, you have 8 years, whereas for the public servants to get something equal to is 25 years. So to correct the situation, let everybody contribute. I agree with that.
Not only that, when you're a politician and you say you're 35 when you start politics, and you get 2 terms, that's 45. Mm-hmm. When do you collect your pension?
You can collect it immediately.
Immediately.
Once you do the...
But me now, who is just a regular public servant, mm-hmm. I have to wait till I'm 55.
No, 43. If you join at 18 and you do 25 years, you will get the pension at 43. Because remember, it's after 25 years.
No, I'm not asking about 25 years. I worked 10 years.
You work 10 years, you get a gratuity.
You get gratuity.
Yeah. 15 years.
No, not going to further. Not going to further.
Oh, the 10, yes.
You get the 10. If you're a politician, you come into politics at 35, mm-hmm. you win your seat twice. Mm-hmm. So you're now 45 years old.
Yes.
You're done with it.
Mm-hmm.
When do you get your pension?
Right away.
Away.
When you finish.
So you get 45. At 45, you get your pension.
Yes.
Me now, I have to wait. If I was a regular public servant, I'll get my gratuity, but I have to wait till 55 to get my pension. Is that right?
No, if you only do 10 years, you don't get any pension.
Okay.
That is what makes it bad.
That's even worse.
Yeah, because you only get the
gratuity.
Right. The argument is that when they review the pension scale, I think in 2005, it was done by private sector people.
But why have a two-tiered system? One rule for politicians and one rule for the rest of us?
Yeah, well, the deal is to have everybody contribute to the pension scheme.
But not only the deal is to have everybody contribute. I have no difficulty with that. That's the easy part.
The time factor. Yeah.
Why should a politician not wait just like us?
Because of the risk associated with politics. Because of the risk.
You see why it's important to vote? You see why it's important to know what's going on in your country?
Yeah. The risk.
Well, this is why I'm so upset when people tell me, oh, I ain't not interested in politics.
You crazy?
I don't want to vote. Oh, blah, blah, blah. There's so many.
Bad governments are elected by good people who do not vote. So, Kel, the situation can be, the problem with the person doing the 10 years, he doesn't get a pension. Because the way they restructure the pension. Remember before...
You mean the regular person?
Yeah, but remember before 2000, before 1997, you didn't get anything, you had to go straight down to 25 years. You had to go straight down to 25 years. And so now you could go at 10. If you do 15, you
I'm just upset. I'm terribly upset that this pension scheme favors so skewed and disproportionate
for the
politicians. But they're the ones who go to parliament, they're the ones who make the rules.
Okay.
They can do these things. The question is, how does a regular person in the street look at this thing and say, this is unfair? It's patently unfair.
Because remember, and
then the rate at which you get paid. Listen, people like Troy Leiber and them there, who don't get 2 terms.
Yeah, boy.
Imagine Troy, I don't think he's 50 yet.
No.
Right?
No.
And he's going to get pension for life, having not contributed one thing, not one dime toward his pension. That's not the worst of it, He has not produced anything.
Oh, that's the other part.
That's the worst part of it.
That's the other part.
And then the third worst part, he gets it immediately after leaving office.
But And then you could make you make another argument. During the time you're in the government, there are some politicians who amass some serious wealth, separate and apart, by using your connections.
How this pension thing works is this. They take your last 3 higher salaries, 3 years.
Yeah.
Last 3 years, higher. That's why they tend to be your highest salary.
Remember, there's a gratuity link to that, you know?
Of course.
You know?
Right? So you get the last 3 years, if you're like the premier now, who's making $164,000 per year for the last 3 years, those 3 best years will be used in calculating how much he gets for life.
Times two, I forget the farmer.
Right? So he'll be walking home with about 75%. About that, right?
That's why you don't have to care nothing about you.
He can walk home about 75% or $164,000 for the rest of his life.
But the pension scheme for the Prime Minister says that if you do 3 terms, you get full pension. So full pension means, Kel, that you get the salary you get as the Prime Minister for your pension. So the citizens need to know that when you are electing people, you're putting is a high risk because you don't know what they're going to do, you know. You don't know what they're going to do. You just make the case that one minister doesn't do anything and so he's going to be loaded. He'll be loaded.
In the meantime, the premier is having difficulty finding 5% for non-black workers.
Yeah, no,
right?
That's
he is running away from paying the additional 5%, but the 8%, he said he's not gonna study that.
Yeah.
Because I am making enough money already.
You really?
Right? He said erroneously, lyingly, that his NIA government hasn't received any pay raise. We proved that to be wrong last week's program.
No.
And I have the notes right here that the minister since 2014 to now enjoyed a $26,000 increase in their wages. The premier himself enjoyed a $24,000 increase in his wages since 2014. And he blatantly said his government has not received any increase in pay since 2014.
But you know, Kel, how many people in Nevis are working below $26,000 a year?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot.
That is where people must understand this problem, this issue is. Imagine you add $26,000 to your salary. Imagine a minister adding $26,000 to your salary over the period, and you make, what, $1,500 a month probably? So you don't make that in a year.
I want people to take a listen to this.
We all remember that the NRP campaign vociferously on a cost of living platform, that they would bring down the cost of living.
Yeah, we did.
To the contrary, and again I go back, are you better off than you were 2 years ago? Is your paycheck able to buy what you used to be able to buy? Because what we have in Nevis is a phenomenon where the pay isn't going up very much, but the cost of living is going through the roof. And I think that we as a people need to critically evaluate what it is the government has done in relation to that.
I want to play it again to make it sink in. This is Mark Brantley saying that NRP came into power, promising to control the cost of living, to make sure that people can pay their bills and blah, blah, blah. And they haven't done it.
Oh my.
He's saying that the cost of living has exploded and a person's paycheck are not going anywhere. This is Mark Brantley. This is what he said. Where are we now? I asked the question. I want you to listen carefully to his words again.
We all remember that the NRP campaigned vociferously on a cost of living platform, that they would bring down the cost of living. To the contrary, and again I go back, are you better off than you were 2 years ago? Is your paycheck able to buy what you used to be able to buy? Because what we have in Nevis is a phenomenon where the pay isn't going up very much, but the cost of living is going through the roof. And I think that we as a people need to critically evaluate what it is the government has done in relation to that.
Okay. So they need to critically evaluate. So he's now asking for the same microscope to be put on him.
Yeah.
What has the government done to make sure a person's paycheck keep in touch with inflation? Now, I ask a question. I got a series of questions to ask Hensley. Right? Who is it and which government froze increments?
This present government.
Which government increased the price of water?
But this government.
The price of feed?
This government.
The price of garbage.
This government.
Which government is taking $3.5 million every month to pay their financial obligations to the banks?
This government.
And therefore less money to put in the poor people's pockets. Which government is steadfastly refusing to promote people to higher paying positions?
This one.
So, in all, this government here called CCM has done everything to take more money out your pockets and put less money in. And so he's now talking about, NRP and NRP and NRP. Well, what? You've been in power since 2013.
But it's 11 years we're out of government, you know?
And he's still talking as if, anyway.
But we're the ones who made the concessions available to small businesses so that they could function better. There's several small business people who tell me how they benefited. We are the ones who made sure people went to university, take up the public money and send them to college to make life better for them. Girl, if we send 251 people to university, you know what that does? That increases their capacity to earn and increases their income as a result of that. Not so?
Of course.
Not so? Come on. And I was the trade minister, so I remember we sat in cabinet and took off all of the duties from chicken, adult pampers, children pampers, and a host of things. And when I went to the supermarket and I said to the supermarket, well, what's happening? He says the price of shipping gone up. So, but we made those concessions. We made those, and we were operating during the collapse of the financial service. And most importantly, Kel, we were operating. How many $1 million he gets? How many millions of dollars he gets from Syncits every month?
He gets more than he should get.
All right. We didn't get that kind of money, but we did much better without it. We put. Here is another point. We left 212 people working at a call center in Brownhill. So much so that they expanded and went to Syncits. When you close down a call center, what happens? Who will make money? So the call center closed down under you. Nisbet Plantation closed down under you. So that's why you have an economic problem. If you close a place with 220 people making serious money every month, well, what is supposed to happen?
But you say he can put some of them over there in
where?
Barnesgut, by the iBank over there.
No, but you closed down the private entities that were making money in Nevis. 212 people working at the call center when he came to government.
But 80 people working on Nisbet.
80. So 212 and 80.
That's 300 already.
All right. Multiply that by an average of 3. Minimum 3.
That's 900 families.
900 persons.
Yeah.
So 900 persons are in difficulty as a result of
plus all the school leavers.
All right. We took the school leavers.
All the persons of elderly age 62 or plus who have run home and not replaced.
Exactly. When the Four Seasons closed, we hired the people in social services. You understand this well. You take a youngster who is making $2,000 a month, and you give him and you send him to university. He come back, he make how much? 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, any number. When you do that to 250 people, that's how you drive the economy. You create the opportunity for them to make more money. But most importantly, you close down the place that people work.
Well, John Forbes is saying, well, if that's the case, everyone should try and try their hand at getting a government work. It seems to be very lucrative. If you are a lowly civil servant, believe me, it's not lucrative.
You're talking about the pension thing.
But if you're a minister of government, believe me, your gravy train is rolling through.
No, it's well greased.
Well greased.
It's well greased.
And listen, like Henry said, and he might have made a joke about it, but it's true. It's a high risk thing because you're putting your career online for public service. You might not win, and then you get the ramifications from that. Yeah. I understand that. But there must not be any situation where different rules apply because you're a politician.
No.
I understand the need for higher pay. It's a strenuous position if you are producing.
If you're producing. Performance matters.
Right? But when you got people in this cabinet here.
Call one, Kel.
I mean.
Call one, man. Call one.
Start on the top. The premier.
Call one who is performing.
The deputy premier. Troy Lambert, Spencer Byrne, and the girl Elizabeth. What's her name? Janelle Elizabeth. Which one of these people are deserving of a salary of $138,000?
If you were to pay them, on performance, how would you pay it?
They can't get nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Well, you see, we grew up in the area. When you remember when you come home at afternoon from school, the food is there, but your mother says to you, you have to do your chores first before you eat. But it seems to me that in Nevis we have shifted to accept mediocrity, non-performance. I can't even say mediocrity.
I don't think people really know the ins and outs of how politicians feather their nest. I don't think people really know what goes on. I don't think people realize that these guys are setting themselves up for a life
forever
free of encumbrances, where they don't have to work again in their lives.
But remember,
you see, they're making the connections while they're in government. They're building up their portfolios. They're creating assets. And then when they retire, on top of that, after 8-10 years of public service, they get this humongous pension and gratuity. It cannot be fair. It cannot be right, especially in a government that has not grown the economy, has not increased current revenue, has not created jobs, have not done anything. They can't complete nothing. Why are we accepting mediocrity from these people? We are paying them handsomely. The premier is getting $164,520 a year just from salary, not allowances, just from salary. Ministers are getting $138,480. 138,480 just from salary. You're not touching allowances yet.
No.
You're not touching, those perks,
cars,
and trips and duty-free concessions on cars.
No, okay, Kel, let me just point out something. When people hear the ministers are away often, remember, somebody was telling me that it's now gone up to $250 a night. When we were in government, then it was $100. If you go
for how much does a minister get? The premier get?
I'm hearing it more than that. I don't know what it is.
$300 US
per night. So if he goes and remember, people, nothing near public, nothing near private visit when you're in the premier, when the minister of government, because you have to carry the persona of the public office wherever you go. All right. If a minister, see one of the ways the people need to know, and you spend, let's suppose, girl, you spend 10 days out of the country per month.
That's $3,000.
$3,000 a month. That, mind you, that is just to put in your pocket.
Yep.
3,000 times 12. That's $36,000 you could have in your pocket with nobody, you don't have to account for in a year. People need to know that.
Let's take this call. Good afternoon, on target. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
How do you calculate Mark Brantley's salary?
Who's what?
How do you calculate Mark Brantley's salary?
How do I calculate it? By the month.
Yeah. Yeah, but you include the parliament in...
No. This is just base salary. This is just basic salary. All the allowances and other perks, this is not included.
To be a member of parliament is one thing.
Yeah, so this is just...
No, your constituency allowance.
Constituency allowance, you get constituency allowance, you get phone allowance, you get entertainment.
Entertainment allowance.
Travel. So,
So the money for the majority leader, what do you call that? Allowance?
The what? He gets an allowance as the leader opposition.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. Doesn't he call it allowance?
Yeah, well, yes. Well, you get a stipend.
calculate everything on level 2. Thank you.
Well, okay, cool, thanks. Yeah, the figures I call out is just for the NIA.
Yeah, it's the NIA,
Just for the NIA. So this 164,000 is what the Nevis Island government pays him to be premier. The federal government pays him another salary for being a federal parliamentarian and leader of the opposition.
Yeah, and you get a constituency allowance in both.
In both. So you get 2 constituency allowances if you're the premier in this position, because he gets one for Nevis and one for St. Kitts, even though he has the constituency in St. Kitts.
But I wish to tell people that when we were in government, we waived the housing allowance, the entertainment allowance, and the telephone allowance. So that's
the question has been asked by August Washington. Can you explain the entertainment allowance?
$600. The entertainment allowance. If you go, you want to take out a girlfriend, or you want to take your family out for dinner. The state pays up to $600 a month. We thought that in the environment where we were, we shouldn't do that. So we didn't do that.
So you can take anybody.
Huh?
You could take anybody.
Anybody, you could take you take a girl.
But you will hope that it was there for business purposes, like you have.
Yeah, like you have a meeting with an investment group.
Yeah,
and so
I would
on,
think it's more like that.
Yeah, it should be. That.
It should be
more like. But it depends. That's why they say, Kel, when you do laws, you have to do the laws. Because suppose you can't put cat to mine cheese. Okay, so the entertainment allowance is that if you have a meeting with so for instance, like you're the Minister of Culture and you have a group of people from you're having a general meeting of the committee, you can take your entertainment allowance and buy them dinner or drinks or something like that, but it's $600 a month. So the Premier said to us in the first week of government, he said, fellas,
Premier Parry
said to us, look, fellas, the economy is tight. Let's see how we could
eliminate that.
So the way I look at the financial situation is a bit much. The $600 a month.
But how can the Premier in good conscience
$1,800
continue these allowances while the 9 public servants are increment?
Well,
how can you do that?
Right, because I remember saying when we were there in cabinet, saying, look, fellas, when I look at the pay sheet, Kel, for the people at the hospital, oh my goodness, I said to myself, no. The permanent secretary here, Jocelyn, was telling me that, what's his name, Douglas Watley was doing some public reform business, and so wait for that. I said, no. These people who I know at the hospital, Kel, for like our good friend here who just died here, Henny. These people at the hospital for 20 and 30 years.
Can't make $400 a week.
And we don't make $400 a week. So
and you're getting $600 a month as an entertainment allowance.
And
this is obscene.
And so I said, look, fellas, let's do that. So we went and we upgraded the people in the laundry, the whole slew of people there. Because Kel is not only the doctors and the nurses keep the hospital running, it's these backup workers, it's these auxiliary workers. So the $1,800 a month for housing, we say, fellas, let's hold off on that. And the $300 a month for the telephone. So we made a patriotic decision to take $2,700 less from per month from our salary for the 5 years. Okay. $2,700 a month. That's because we were seeing
the economy was in bad shape. Just like we are now.
It was worse. It was now.
It was now.
It was and we weren't getting how many millions from St. Kitts per month?
We get 6.5 million a month.
All right.
No, 5.5 million.
Sorry. 5.5 million. Mm-hmm. We weren't getting that. And so we say let's do that. But the people in Nevis say, well,
they voted against that.
Yeah, they remind me of what happened with Christ at Good Friday. Give us Barabbas.
But you see, okay, so
release unto us Barabbas.
So I don't listen. These are the kind of things.
These are the discussions, Kel, that you want people to be aware of. That the Premier now has made it. When you buy a vehicle, and you have a driver, you're adding more cost to the money. Mr. Daniel, Mr. Amri, and Mr. Premier drove the car they used because they didn't think that they need to be defined by vehicles and so on. And all of them drove their personal vehicles.
The first thing that the Premier did, this present Premier did when he came to power, bought a Pajero. Special designed, special outfitted, bulletproof glass, I understand, costing well over $300,000.
For what?
And with a driver. No, except for official events.
That's what you do.
Premier Parry, Premier Amory, and Premier Daniel, they drove themselves. This fella came along, this doctor came along.
It's to show self.
And decided, to hell with all your poor people, I will be chauffeured everywhere I go.
Yeah.
The chauffeur will be my personal photographer, my valet, my everything. All right? When I sit down to eat lunch, he should tuck the napkin around my neck to make sure it's fitted properly, and he should polish my shoes and carry my bags. This is where we at.
No, but we
got a showboat premier,
but we can't afford it. That's
who is collecting $164,000 from the NIA, the newest treasury. On top of that, all the allowances, plus what he gets from the federal and the stipend down there, all isn't it obscene? Isn't it obscene that the premier and the other two are collecting constituency allowance from the federal government? if indeed this is true, and I see no reason why it's not true.
All parliamentarians get it.
What constituency does Mark Brantley have on St. Kitts?
No. The concept is that these are federal constituencies, and so I have St. John's and St. Paul's, and so I need my money, that kind of thing.
Oh, really?
It had nothing to do with where it's coming from.
So what work did he do as the federal representative for St. Paul's, St. John's?
He doesn't do any work.
Okay, we're moving on.
He doesn't do any work, Kel.
We're moving on.
You just said, Kelly, remember you said that the Nevis people, you don't understand.
I don't think people know the ins and outs of how well these guys are paid.
Oh, okay.
And why they're holding on for dear life. Nowhere else in the world will you have persons doing everything, lie, cheat, manipulate, everything to stay in power. It's because of the money and the power and access to money and power.
Right. And
they're fighting to stay in there,
right,
as the first instance, to get the perks. And they're fighting to stay in there because they know any succeeding government will investigate what's going to happen. And therefore, they're not leaving any stone unturned. And so it's important that people of Nevis understand. Every vote counts.
Okay, all I would say is this, and just to underscore what you're saying, there is emerging in our society a group of people who want to be in politics. They have no interest in people, and the public must see that. They have no interest in you. Their interest is in attending conferences, workshops, seminars, and Kel, in addition to that, I was in the government. My secretary would tell me, we're going to Miami for a health conference. He said that you could go, what you call this thing? First class. First class, I operate as if it was my money. 2.5 hour flight is a short flight. If you go in 8 and 10 and so on, you understand that. But you're going to Miami on a short flight because you're the minister. When my secretary told me the price, it was about twice the money, and it was just for food. But those things don't bother me. So I used to travel regular, save the country another twice the money. It was about, if you pay $1,000 to go, you save $1,000. But to underscore the point you make is this. People need to get to know how this money is spent. This money, the most important thing I want to say to the people in relation to what he says, the money is yours. The money is yours, taxpayers.
85% of the government expenditure is on personal emoluments and salaries and wages. Sorry.
Yeah.
85%. So when you see, once you see that, say, a budget have $10 million in it for the Ministry of Health,
8 million is for people.
8 million is to pay salaries.
Yeah.
Right. And when you look at what the Minister of Health gets out of that, it's outrageous.
It's a chunk.
It's a big chunk. All right? And so, but anyway, folks, it is raining outside. Like this weather doesn't want to let us go. It means I can't go fishing tomorrow. I was really hoping that the weather would calm itself enough for us to go.
Doesn't look so.
But it doesn't look that way. The swells are again increasing. And so I'm looking right out the window at the ocean as I speak. And the boats are now oriented, facing north. It means that the weather has passed us and we're getting the tail end of it, the reverse end of it. And so we are seeing the weather shift. We got a call coming in. Let's see who this is. Good afternoon. You on target? Hello. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon again. Listen, I just want you all to be aware that St. Nevis Hospital was destroyed in 1899, and they never get hospital back for 10 years. And you know where they moved them people? To the jail in Charlestown, and they stayed there for 5 years. Libert Thomas make noise in the assembly, and they moved them to the Queen's, the magistrate's house, and then they built the other hospital. But what I'm trying to say is that this hospital really is making history. Look at the first hospital that got destroyed. It was built in the 1700s, and it got destroyed in 1899. Google it. And you see when the hospital get destroyed, they put them in the jail, where the immense sent were killing the people. And then they make so much noise, they move them to the magistrate where they call the Queen House. And then after 5 years, they build the hospital. It took them 10 years. This is history making this. Something got to be done.
I agree. Thank you very much. All right. Something needs to be done. We started this hospital project in 2017. We're now in 2024, and the latest prediction I saw, which I tend to believe, if they start mid-year, which is June, if by June they start, the earliest date that this hospital will be ready, if everything goes well, is 2026. 2026, the earliest possible date, 2026.
And there's a lot of if in there.
A lot of ifs. If my nose was a post hole, I'd plant a post in it right about now. Anyway, folks, we are through for the day. Thank you all for your astute comments and attendance in class. We enjoyed your company.
Where's LCQ?
I have not seen Elsie. I think she's probably on the road with her grandchildren somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Right, we do thank you for your vigilance in sending us information. A number of persons out there who always send me stuff and communicate with me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, okay.
You know with me now, you just got a point, and I will take it from there. All right, so thank you, JT. Thank you, August. Loretta Clark, I don't know what happened to you today, but thank you, Gemini.
Does she have any of your Hammond? Did you send her
No.
Hammond?
Roberta Chapman, thank you. Judy Cornelius Webb, I will pee in my yard if I want to. Delicious Nicholas Brown, thank you very much for staying the course, as well as Iona Door over there in Bath. Love you to live your, Iona is a sweet woman. Thank you for staying the course with us. Who else we have? Joseph Brooks is in the house. Thank you, Joseph. And all the other persons who signed on, have a blessed and safe rest of the weekend.
I have to wish people happy Valentine's Day. It's coming up on Wednesday, Kelly. Your significant others would like that from you.
Well,
and we're having the luncheon for NRP, but that's the early part of the.
I don't celebrate Valentine's as a matter of principle. I believe people should be celebrated all year round, not just on one day when people prescribe it. Anyway, we're out of here. See you next week, Saturday, same time, same station. Be safe.